Aloha, and how's it? Today we're talking about whether or not to use your LinkedIn profile or your LinkedIn page to build your business. So, which actually performs better on LinkedIn these days? More on that in a minute. How was your weekend? We had some awesome, almost winter waves on the north shore of Oahu, and my intention was to get out and surf as much as possible. For me, it's all about getting in the practice. I'm trying to work my way closer to the peak at the breaks I like to surf. As a woman who's still not ripping on the waves yet, it can feel a little bit intimidating to sit in the middle of the pack and take a steep drop, but I'll get there. End of the winter, that's what we're shooting for. So, have you checked out my latest episode on the Mango Effect podcast this week? I got real on the podcast and talked about some decisions I've made about the direction of my business, how I've learned a lot about which elements of the business I love and which parts I want to refine to be a better fit, both for my risk tolerance and also the types of work I enjoy doing most. So, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you have made some shifts in your business lately or considering them, you'll really like episode 36. Get behind the scenes with me and you can hear my raw, unfiltered thoughts on the Mango Effect podcast. And while you're there, check out the other 35 episodes about creating a life you love, being a digital entrepreneur, living in Hawaii, learning to surf, doing life your way, and more. But now it is time for Mondays with Mindy. This is a weekly show on Monday afternoons if you're based in the US, where I talk about all things LinkedIn pipeline, promo, and profiles, what I call the 3 Ps of LinkedIn. So, do you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer? Be sure to like this post, whether you're watching live or from the replay. Also, leave your questions below, and I will answer them either after the show or on a future episode of Mondays with Mindy. That's where all of these topics come from. Every single quarter, I sit down and I look at all the questions that have come in and I figure out what content I want to talk about in the next quarter. So make sure to get your ideas in. There's still time before the end of Q4. So let's get to today's topic. Should you be focusing on growing your LinkedIn page or your LinkedIn profile? So, this is one of the questions I get asked just about every time I work with a business owner or entrepreneur. And it's important to know when to use which and why. So, we're going to get into that today. Have you ever wondered about your LinkedIn page? Do you need one if you're not a business with dozens of employees? What if you're a freelancer or a solopreneur or a small business owner? Do you need a page and a profile? Are pages useful? Do you actually post to a page? For those of you who are an owner of any size business, I don't care if you are the only person, you have a VA, maybe you don't, maybe it's just you, maybe you're a freelancer. I always suggest you create a LinkedIn page for your business. It's important to signal to people on LinkedIn that you have a legitimate business, even if you're not planning to do much else with your page. So, in a nutshell, a page represents your business, your profile represents you as an individual. So, that's the difference between the two. Now, LinkedIn pages are valuable in a few different ways. But one thing to note is that you cannot treat a LinkedIn page like you would a Facebook page or Instagram account. I know on the outside they look very similar, but the way that people interact with them are just a little bit different on LinkedIn. They are not at all the same. So for most of us using LinkedIn, pages are not the most important or relevant way to engage with our audience or our target market on LinkedIn. But you must have a LinkedIn page if you have a business. It's critical to set up one LinkedIn page ASAP. So, whatever your current business is now, make sure to set up a LinkedIn page for that business. If you have some that you have run in the past, you can create old LinkedIn pages for old businesses. It's up to you. The only time I ever recommend that is if you have some old businesses and you want that logo to show up on your profile. Otherwise, focus on your current business. So, what can happen if you don't have a LinkedIn page? You're like, Mindy, really? Do I have to create a LinkedIn page? So, what could happen? LinkedIn could automatically create one for you, and you'll have to actually contact them to claim it. So, that is kind of a pain to do. So, be thoughtful. Like, once you add your business to LinkedIn, once you put it on your profile, make sure to go create a LinkedIn page. Or you could have that little building icon, you know what I'm talking about, in your job experience, which looks really blank and gives the appearance that you don't have a legitimate business. You could also miss a number of business opportunities when people actually search for your business on LinkedIn and they cannot find it. If you have a medium sized business or bigger, there's a lot of missed opportunity to post consistently and get engagement too. So if you have a business, you're like, we have a few dozen employees, or we're growing, or we're a startup, it's a really good idea to get a LinkedIn page up and running. It also will lead back to your profile or the profiles of your employees. You will also miss out on the power of using your page and profile together. There is synergy here when you do it well. So keep in mind that pages are for your business. Profile is your personal profile. It's all about you, but the two can work together. But not to worry, because we're going to discuss a few important getting started tips for LinkedIn pages, so you will be crystal clear on what you need to do next with your LinkedIn page. Having a decent LinkedIn page ensures you cover all of the bases and can easily be found and appear credible to your target audience. Remember, a little thought here goes a long way. And the best part, it only takes about 15 minutes to set up a page if you don't have one yet, maybe even less if you have all your logos and stuff handy. So, aloha, for those who don't know me, my name is Mindy Rosser. I'm the founder of Mindy Rosser Marketing, and I have a brand spanking new program, super excited about it, called the 90-Minute LinkedIn Profile for those who want to go from 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and network, of course, in 90 minutes. So I'll be sharing the details of how you can get on the wait list at the end of this live stream, or check the comments if you're watching the replay. I'll be opening the doors to this program in just a few short weeks, so make sure to be on the wait list so you will be notified. I help professionals who feel they are the best kept secret in their industry to become that go-to visible expert in their niche, so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact on LinkedIn. In this live, we are talking about why failing to set up and use your LinkedIn page in a way that matches your business type can cause you to lose credibility really fast with LinkedIners who don't already know you, and how you can actually set up and use your LinkedIn page the right way to help you accelerate your business, kickstart the right relationships, and generate more leads. Are you ready? Let's do this. So go ahead and like this post, whether you're live, watching from the replay, to give it some social love. So, what's a LinkedIn page for? A common mistake I see quite often is not understanding what to do with the LinkedIn page and when to use it. You heard me just say it's important to create one, but what do you do with it afterwards? Many people either create a page and start posting from the page instead of their profile, or they fail to create a page at all. So, if you created a page, good for you. You've done much more than many people in a similar situation. In a nutshell, a LinkedIn page adds credibility to your company. If you are a solopreneur, a freelancer, or have your own business, you must create a LinkedIn page and link to it from your profile at the very least. Okay. You've heard me say this many times. Create a page. If you don't take away anything else from this session except to go set up a LinkedIn page, that is a success. Make a note to set up your page. You must have a LinkedIn page and link to it from your profile, no matter how big or small your business is. And let me actually share with you, I'm going to share my screen here so you can see what it looks like and where to go to set up your page. All right. So if you are on LinkedIn, we're going to actually go back here. What you will do is you're going to click on, for me, it's work, but whatever this little icon is for you, it may look different depending on your subscription. You're going to come down here where it says create a company page and click that. Boom, voila. Fill this out. Very simple, and it won't take you that long to do. So that's where you go to create your company page. All right. So what's a LinkedIn profile for? So we talked about the page. You're like, okay, Mindy, I get it. The page is for the business. So we're talking about profiles too, aren't we? Yes. So now that you understand the importance of the LinkedIn page, it's important to know that the most important thing on LinkedIn is your personal profile, but you still have to have a LinkedIn page. So the thing with the page that a lot of people don't understand, because it's different from Facebook or Instagram, your page cannot connect with people on behalf of your business. You cannot message people from your page. You can only message people from your personal profile. So your page cannot replace your profile. Write that down. Your page cannot replace your profile. If you are putting effort into LinkedIn, your effort should go into your profile first and foremost. Make sure you have a page, but first dial in your LinkedIn profile, build that network, really focus there, because that's where you're going to build the relationships. Your page cannot build relationships. It cannot message anyone. Your LinkedIn profile can do all of those things, plus a lot more, when you know how to use it alongside your page. So if you are a business owner who's still kind of new to LinkedIn, focus on just getting the basics set up on your LinkedIn page. You saw that screenshot, take a screenshot, go set up your company page, spend 5, 10, 15 minutes setting it up, connect it to your personal profile, and focus the rest of your energy on dialing in your personal LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile is really where all of the magic happens on LinkedIn. I've talked a lot about that, so you can go back to prior videos if you want to learn about the profile. When you hear people talking about growing their business with LinkedIn, you may have heard that before. They are not talking about their page. So I just want to make that clear here. They are talking about using their personal LinkedIn profile to build relationships, get conversations, and attract new clients. They are not going out and advertising on LinkedIn, which a lot of people think that's how it works. It's not for those of us who are small. If you are a mega corporation, yes, you can go advertise on LinkedIn. But for most of us, that is not how we are building awareness. That is not how we are growing our business. It is not through advertising. It's not using our page so much. It is mostly through using our personal profiles, unless you're really, really big. So while we're on the topic of LinkedIn profiles, I will also share the link to my LinkedIn profile guide. I have a free guide that comes with a mini training to get going on refreshing your profile. I'll also put that in the comments after this. All right, so building building credibility with your LinkedIn page. Now let's get back to talking about the page. So one way to think about your LinkedIn page is that it's the place where people go to learn about your company. So this is not about you personally, this is about your company. Remember, you got to keep that separate on LinkedIn. When people are on your profile, they're learning about you. Yes, your company stuff will be there too, but they're mostly there to learn about you. When they are on your page, that is not you. That is not your personal bio on your page. Even if you're a solopreneur, freelancer, it is about the company. So keep that in mind. Page, company, profile, personal. So I like to break it down into two segments for different types of pages based on your company size. So those of you with a company in the 1 to 10 employee range, so solopreneurs, freelancers, those of you with a small business, you have a small team, all you need to do for your LinkedIn page is set up a page. You don't need to actually post to the page. Most solopreneurs or small companies don't need to use their page because they are the face of the brand, or somebody else at the organization is like the face of the company. And people are much more likely to engage with the people at your company over the page. So keep that in mind. Like, I will share my screen again because you can see my page here. So you'll see on my page, let me actually go to posts. You'll see I have one post. The only post I have here is for an event. And why did I post an event here? Because all of the people who signed up for my event gave me their contact information. So that's the only reason I use the page to set up an event. I'm a small business. You can see I don't have a bazillion employees working for me. So for me, my page is really there to direct people to my website and let them know that it's legitimate and that my little icon shows up on my profile as well. So you can see that's the difference. I think for people looking at their page and like, oh, what do I do with it? If you're really small, don't worry about posting. You may use it every once in a while, like I did for a webinar, for an event, but you don't actually have to post a bunch of content there. Okay. All right, so those of you now that have a B2B company with 11 or more employees, so think in terms of like a small startup, small, medium-sized businesses, you should actually set up a page and regularly post to the page and ensure it's active. That's what I typically recommend. So with a B2B company of this size, it's important to post at least once or twice, ideally a month, depending on how much content you have access to and bandwidth to manage the page. It does take management. It's not like you have to do a lot, but you do need to check it on the regular. So keep it simple. Focus on reposting content from other channels. And I'm actually going to share an example of a page too. So we'll go back to this one here. Give me 1 second just to type it in. And then we are going to look at another page that I feel like does a really, really good job of managing their content. And you can see I manage the page. Okay, full disclosure, I help to manage this page. All right, so looking at this page here, you can see that there is content. There's regular content. There's a pinned post. You can see that employees are engaging on the content. You can see that we're posting just about every day. Sometimes we miss a day here and there, but for the most part, if it would refresh, you will be able to see that there is content going out regularly. So this is really important from the standpoint of managing a LinkedIn page when you have more employees. And you can see we have a good number of followers on the page. You can also see that you can grow your followers right here, which is a really good thing to do. And you can see that we have used most of our credits for the month. We make sure to do this. You'll see that we have a good number of unique visitors because we continue to invite people to follow the page. We also tag people. You'll see that our followers are pretty high. That's because we're using this little feature over here, nifty feature. So this is really good example of what to do with the page if you're curious and you want an example of how to manage a page, what looks good. So feel free to take a look at Membrane after this if you would like to see that. All right. So back to 5 questions that you should ask before you start posting to a page. So which category are you in? Are you like Mindy? I don't think I really need to post to the page, but I'm curious if I should post to the page. So we'll cover that. But if you're in the small business, solopreneur, freelancer space, you may not need to actually post, but you'll still find these questions helpful. Now, if you are in that B2B space, if you have a company page with you have a certain number of employees, you're in that startup, small, medium-sized business range, then you are going to want to think thoughtfully about what to do with your page. So think about that from that perspective. All right. So I've actually had some people in the 1 to 10 employee range who still wanted to use their page. And so what they would do is they would cross promote content onto their personal profile. So what you can do if you want to grow your page and also use your personal profile, you can actually post to your page. So post content to the page, and then you would reshare it from your personal profile. So then everybody inside of your network can see it. The one thing people don't often understand about pages is that the only people who can see your page are people who actually follow the page. So if you have, a couple dozen people that follow your page, the likelihood that they're actually going to see what you post from your page is very, very small, unless you use your LinkedIn profile to amplify it. So that's what people will do if they still want to grow the page. So another example here, you may have a podcast and you want to share episodes of the podcast from a LinkedIn page dedicated to the podcast or your business. And you also want to make sure they go to your profile. So if you want to build up a following for the podcast per se, and that may or may not be 100% dependent on their connection with you as an individual, what you could do is just post to your page. Again, amplify that in your personal network and try to get people to follow the page. Like I just showed you, you can actually invite like 250 people every single month to follow your page. These people are going to be connections of yours. So keep that in mind. That's why it's so, so important to grow your network, because then you can invite, if you have a page, you're trying to grow it, you can invite your connections to follow your page. So you can see how pages and profiles work very, very well together. So for those of you who are eager to use your LinkedIn page effectively and actually want to post, I'm going to give you 5 questions to ask yourself to help you determine when to use your page over your profile. So first of all, is your page the best place to share this content? You're like, well, of course, right? Everything should be shared from my company page. But there's a difference between a page and a profile, and it is pretty important. Pages are more company related, a bit more formal content in terms of like news and press releases. It's really not the place for an insightful, reflective piece or a rant. So for those of you who like to write really thoughtful pieces like, oh, this happened with a client this week, and we had this incredible transformation, and these are my takeaways. What do you think about that? If you want to have that type of conversation, that is a LinkedIn profile, personal profile post. That is not a page post. Now, if you wanted to share some news, maybe your company won an award, maybe you were nominated, something like this would be really good to share from your company. So share from your page. If you want to celebrate employees, if you want to talk about employee engagement, you want to talk about activities happening at the company, share from your company page. So keep in mind, pages, more company related, more formal content, newsy stuff. And then profiles are really where you're going to get the most engagement and connect more one-to-one with your audience. So that's where I would put that type of content. So pages actually allow you, you saw it on my page, to easily create events and actually get the contact information for people who RSVP to your events. So keep that in mind. If you do events, if you do webinars, anything like this where you are trying to get people's connection information and you want to be able to email them reminders, it does help to have that LinkedIn page and set up your event through that LinkedIn page. There is a way to set up an event from a personal profile, but you will not be able to get their contact information. So I've run into a lot of people. I've done it myself where I set it up under the wrong account, and then it's like, oh, bummer. Now I can't collect their email information and actually email them reminders. And you're kind of trying to message them on LinkedIn, which can feel a little clunky. So keep that in mind. If you do events, if you want to use webinars, anything like this, set it up through your company LinkedIn page. That's going to be the best way to get their info and also be able to keep in touch with them. All right, so number 2, what's your objective for your LinkedIn page? We talk a lot about that here, about intentions, goals, objectives. Like, what's your reason? What is the reason you are using your LinkedIn page? Sometimes just posting regularly and keeping the page active is enough. If that's your objective, great, then just do that. If you are the social media manager on the team and that is your job, make sure that X, Y, and Z gets posted over the next couple of weeks. Great. Check that box, post it as best you can, and call it a day. Now, others are trying to get more followers. They're trying to boost engagement. So they're really not just being a little bit more passive about it. They want to be active about this. So ask yourself which objective matters most to you. Can you get a better result from your personal profile? Or is the LinkedIn page where you are wanting to build community? So again, it's really taking into account for those of you who are solopreneurs, freelancers, business owners, you probably should stick with your LinkedIn profile as the main place to post, unless you have like a podcast or something like that, that you really want to build up the company for some reason. So if there's a reason that you are trying to build up the company and the company following, then make sure to use your page. For those of you who are social media managers of company pages, make sure you are doing that as well as possible. I'm just like encouraging you to learn the analytics. You can actually do so much and actually see the types of followers, who's engaging. And so many people I consult with, they don't even know how to use the LinkedIn page. And there is gold in the analytics on your LinkedIn page. So if you manage a page for a company, maybe you don't feel personally invested in making that page a success, but do get excited about it. Learn the tool. Learn how to do it well. Look at other pages. You can actually benchmark yourself against competitors too, which is really, really fun to do, and see how you compare against what they're posting and the type of engagement they're getting. All right, moving on to question number 3. How much content do you have available to post? This is a biggie. If you don't have a lot of content, you can't post very often. So if you're creating fresh weekly content, you might have a backlog of content to potentially post to a LinkedIn page and also your LinkedIn profile. So you may have plenty to work with. In that case, don't worry about it. If you have evergreen content that is good to share all year round, then you've got plenty to work with for your page. You won't run out of content. Now, if you are not creating content frequently, you might struggle to figure out what to post. You may not stay frequent enough. And that is really, really important to make your page engaging enough for people to follow. If you are a sporadic LinkedIn page poster, people are just not going to pay attention. You have to keep them engaged. So after they follow your page, they need to engage with one of your posts, because that will make sure that your posts keep popping up at the top of their LinkedIn newsfeed. So this can happen. And I have some people come to me very concerned, like, Mindy, I'm not getting any content or engagement from the post. And I'm like, if you actually get a few people engaged on that post, and if you can get people as soon as they follow the page to engage with something on that page right away, then you are going to be miles ahead of your competitors, because that page content will show up at the top of their feed. I follow a few pages and it's the first thing I see. And a lot of people say, oh, it always gets buried. Not necessarily. If the person cares about what you're posting from that page, if they have engaged once or twice with content on that page, you are going to be golden. And one other really cool tip and trick here is if you send out an email newsletter. I know we're not talking about email, but if you have a weekly newsletter that you send out, monthly newsletter, whatever frequency it is, when you send it out, I would direct people to follow your page, to build that LinkedIn page, and to engage with a certain post. You can actually put the link to the post inside of the email and get people to go click on that post and engage with the post. That is a really, really clever way. I haven't seen too many people do it well. I've seen a few. And it works like gangbusters when your audience is engaged. Sometimes you just have to remind people to engage with the page. All right. I like that. Engage with the page. We need a hashtag. All right. So keep that in mind. Make sure to post consistently enough, frequently enough for your audience. Then again, if in doubt, If you're a small, small business owner, entrepreneur, and you're like, Mindy, I'm not really going to post from the page, obviously, you don't have to worry about it then. Just focus on posting from your profile. But make sure before you start posting to the page, you have enough content to keep it frequent enough. So remember, once or twice a week is good. Every weekday is awesome if you have that amount of content. If you can't do that, then shoot for once or twice a month. As long as you're posting monthly, that page is going to look pretty good. All right, so number 4, do you have someone helping you to post content? So if you're a social media manager for a page, that would be you. If you are a business owner or you have a page and you're like, Mandy, I don't want to do it. I'd rather hire somebody or have somebody on your team handle it. That's fine. If you don't want to spend time every week posting to your LinkedIn page, it may be a good idea to enlist the help of a social media manager to post and manage your page. Ideally, this person should have some experience with managing pages. That is something I have noticed. A lot of people will be like, oh, yeah, I can post to social media for you. But I'm like, do you understand LinkedIn pages? They are different. It is not Instagram. It is not Facebook. It is a really unique place. And to do a page well, it is a little bit tricky. And sometimes you have to play with copy. So do make sure if you are hiring someone in particular to manage your LinkedIn page, ask them. Have they managed any pages? Can they point you to any examples? It's really important just so you feel comfortable with their approach and they actually understand the analytics, what's happening on the back end, and can help you improve. All right. So, otherwise, if you're going to do it yourself, plan to set aside at least 20, 30 minutes weekly to check in on your page. You're going to look at followers, check your analytics, invite people to follow the page, post some content. So, you can fill that time pretty quickly. It adds up fast. You can do as much or as little as you would like, but keep in mind if you want your page to grow, you're going to have to actively manage your page on a weekly basis. All right. Number 5. How often do you plan to post content? Make sure to set a schedule. And for those of you who are like, I just kind of post it when I think of it, it is not a good strategy for your page to succeed. You must have a schedule. You must decide how often you are going to post to your page. So, again, like I said, I recommend posting once weekly. If you have the amount of content required to keep up this frequency, once every weekday is ideal if you have a larger company and you have plenty of content coming your way. If you can only post monthly, that's okay. Just don't let it go too long. Don't skip a month. Make sure that you are posting. People think very poorly of pages where they like get all excited and do a bunch of posts and then they stop posting. You kind of like lose all the followers that you had. So just keep that in mind. If you want to keep them engaged, you want to keep them excited, keep giving them content. And it is okay to recycle content, especially if you change the image, change the verbiage. So don't feel bad about reposting things you shared in the past, especially if it's evergreen. You can do that. Just be smart about it. Don't make it look all the same because that's really boring. All right, so let's recap. Is your page the best place for that piece of content? So first of all, you're going to ask yourself, what's your objective for your page? Make sure you are very clear. If it's just to have that logo show up on your profile, you don't have to do anything else. Just set up the page. If you want people following the page and building a community or relationship with the page and your brand, make sure to invest the time appropriately. Then what's your objective for the page? What do you want to happen? Do you want more followers, more engagement? Do you want more leads? What does that look like? You want to make sure to match your tactics to your objective. And number 3, how much content do you have available? If you have a lot, great. You can probably have a higher frequency. If not, either build up your content and then start posting to the page or do what you can with the content that you have. All right. Do you have someone helping you to post content? Otherwise, you are going to need to do it yourself. So keep that in mind. Get the help you need if you need it. Otherwise, learn it yourself. For those of you who are a little hesitant, it's not that hard. It really is not that hard. I've been doing it for years and it didn't take me long to learn. But if you are going to hire somebody, again, just ask them if they've done this before. And then lastly, how often do you plan to post to your page? Make sure you keep up that frequency once or twice a week, at least once a month if you can't swing once or twice a week. All right, so remember, if you are limited on time, focus on your LinkedIn profile before ever posting to your LinkedIn page. Once you find a good rhythm with your profile and want to take it that step further, that's when your page can be used to amplify your content and raise that brand awareness. So keep that in mind. Always focus on your profile first. If you have extra bandwidth, extra time, extra resources, then think about your page. So that's it for today. We covered a lot. All right. So if you're looking for that extra edge to get started on the right path, get on the wait list for the 90-minute profile. It is coming very soon towards you, early October. So I know it's early October right now, but in a couple of weeks, I have a few more finishing touches I want to put on it. So get on the wait list and you will be notified via email as soon as it's open. It is tailored to take you through optimizing the 7 sections of your LinkedIn profile in less than 90 minutes. If you're interested, here's that link to get on the wait list and find out a few more details. All right, I will see you all next week. Mondays with Mindy. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below. And my inbox is always open if you want to message me directly. That's it for today. I will see you next week.